Earth. Yes, moon is the satellite of Earth and it's the nearest neighbor of the Earth. How Earth revolves and rotates around the sun, the same way moon rotates and revolves around the Earth. Yes, these are the some of the facts. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the detail Earth and the moon. Okay. About the Earth, we will learn only about the structure of the Earth, and all such remaining details are about the moon. Now, can you see the very first topic of this chapter, structure of the Earth?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, now see, Earth is not in circular in shape. It's not like the disk also, disk shape, but it is spherical in shape. How is the shape of the Earth?
Spherical.
Spherical, yes. And our Earth has three layers. Our Earth has three layers.
Three layers.
Yes, these three layers names are crust, mantle, and core. Can you see here the picture of Earth, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's the picture of our Earth. See how it looks, how this three different layers looks. You can see them in this picture, correct, beta? Okay, what are the once
Yes,
again?
ma'am.
What are the name of these three layers?
Crust, mantle, out core, in core,
Okay,
inner
it's
core.
core, outer core and inner core.
Outer core.
Now
Ma'am,
the it is yes, beta. Yes, you want to say anything?
yes, ma'am. That I have heard that that inner core is very much hot.
Yes, it's very
Its
its center.
temperature is very much hot.
Very high. Yes, that details also I'm going to explain. Now listen. The crust is the very first layer, and it's coolest layer among these three layers, and that is the reason why we are living here on this first layer. We live where? We live here on this first layer because all the required thing, rocks, soil, sand, air, water, everything is available on this first layer. So where do we live? We live on the crust, and crust is the outermost layer of the earth. Okay, remember this thing. Got it, beta? About the crust.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now if we talk about the mantle, see, just like the core, mantle is also divided into two parts, outer mantle and inner mantle. Now, just below the crust, exact crust ke niche, exact below the crust, mantle is present there. So, outer mantle is made up of solid rocks, but inner mantle contains inside the inner mantle is made up of molten rock. It's made a molten rock. What is means by molten rock? You remember in sixth chapter we had learned that rocks in the liquid form.
Yes, ma'am. Igneous
Yes,
rock.
yeah, it's not igneous rock, but the rock which is in liquid form is known as
Yes,
molten rock.
ma'am. Lava.
Okay,
Segment
so
lava.
yes, so mantle, uh, outer mantle is made up of solid rock, but inner mantle is made up of molten rock. Now, in that chapter only we had learned that so many different types of metals and minerals also we can found from the earth. So this particular mantle contains iron and magnesium. Okay, this mantle have iron and magnesium. Got it, Pita? Crust and mantle. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now if we talk about the third part of the earth, it is known as core. What is its name? Core. Now, core again is divided into two parts, outer core and inner core. Now, core is the center of the earth. Core is the center of the earth. And how we had learned in the earlier point that it contains iron and magnesium, the same with this core. This core contains iron and nickel. This core contains iron and nickel, and its inner core. Inner core is entirely made up of iron. It's like the solid ball. The inner core is like that solid ball made up of iron. Are you getting understood? Yes, yes. It is the thing which you were saying that
Yes,
because of that the core of the earth is very hot. Because of that the core of the earth is very hot. Got it, boys? Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so
yes, ma'am.
this is all about the three layers of the earth, which are there: crust, mantle, and core. Got it? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
now we have to learn about the moon. What is the name of the new topic? The moon. So in the moon, we have to remember, keep things remember that moon is the earth's nearest neighbor. This we know very well, correct? Now the other thing is that there is no air present on the moon. Okay, how do we have air present on our earth? The same way there is no air present on the moon. Correct? Now, in the beginning of the chapter, I have told you that how earth revolves, moves around the sun. The same way this moon moves and revolves around the earth. You know this very well, correct, Pita? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
do you know one more thing, that the moon does not have its own light? You know, you might be know this very well. Yes. Why do
Yes,
it
Yes,
ma'am.
shine?
It
ma'am.
reflects
Why,
the
Uh,
sun's
yes,
light.
yes, very
yes.
nice. Okay, it does
Reflection
not
of
have.
the sun.
Yes, it does not have its own light, but it shines because of the light of the sun. Sun's light reflects on it, and that's why we can see moon is shining. Now, see, here are the two picture. How moon can be seen. How moon looks from the earth. Can you see this? That from the moon, earth, moon appears in this way. The same way, if we go on the moon, from the moon, sun, earth looks like this way. Can you see these two different pictures, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the next topic's name is the surface of the moon. What is the name of the next topic? Surface
The
of the moon.
surface of the moon.
Okay, now the fact about the surface of the moon is just like uh, that that we have learned that there is no air present there. The same way, how do we have the protective atmosphere found on the earth? In the earlier chapter we had learned. Do you remember, Namita? Okay, the same
Yes,
way,
ma'am.
such kind of atmosphere is also not found on the moon, and that is why the surface of the moon is very cold and very dry. Okay, and dust, it is covered with the dust. The surface of the moon is covered with the dust. The same way in the picture, you can see this hall-like structure on the moon. Can you see them better? This kind of hall-like structure.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, these are the land area, these are the mountain area on which deep hole can be found that. And these deep holes on the surface of the moons are known as craters. They are known as craters. Can you see this? Yes, beta, they are known as craters. What is their name? How do they know?
Crater.
Craters. Deep holes on the surface of the moon is known as what? Is known as craters.
Waters.
Now can anyone say why this kind of hole-like structure we can found on the moon? Have any idea, beta?
No, ma'am.
Okay, see, once again, remember that in the atmosphere we had learned in one of the layer that rock-like structure is it's not capable to comes towards the earth, because in
Yes, ma'am.
one of the layer it just burns up, so it's not able to reach to the
Yes, ma'am.
earth. Okay,
Mesosphere.
yes,
Mesosphere.
yes. So those different atmospheric layer protect us a lot. But as I have told you here in the earlier, that here such protective atmosphere is not there. So such kind of rocks from the space hits the surface of the moon, and that's why this kind of deep holes can be found on the moon, and they are known as craters. Now you understand, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So now the next point is phases of the moon. Does moon appears same every day?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so can you see the changes in the shape of the moon?
Yes, ma'am.
See, every
Yes.
day it appears, it looks different every day. Yes. So this thing is known as phases of the moon. This thing is known as phases of the moon. Now see, the shape of the moon appears to change. Why it changes every day? Because it revolves around the earth, that we have learned in earlier. Correct? It's move around it's rotate around the earth, and that's why every day it appears different in its shape. It changes, it looks different every day. Now this changing shape of the moon are called what? Are called phases of the moon. Are you getting understood, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and why do this kind of phases of the moon appears? Due to the
Ma'am, can I say
changing,
with the yes?
just a minute, beta, because of the changing position of the sun, moon, and earth. Okay, they all just moving around each. See, sun is not at all moving. Sun is a star. Sun is not capable of moving from its place, but it's only because of the earth and moon, it's always changed their place. That is the reason why we can feel day and night, why we can feel different changes in the weather. Okay, why we can see different shapes, different changing shapes of the moon. It is the moon and the earth who are always moving from their place. Different types of eclipse also take place, so it is all because of they are changing their position. Yes, yes. Now, what you want to say, beta? Ayaz, would you like to say anything, beta? Am I audible, boys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so where is he gone? He was saying something. Is he left?
No, ma'am, he's there, but he's not unmuting his mic.
Okay, fine. So it's all about the phases of the moon. Now, just after the phases of the moon, okay, our next topic name is moon and the tides. Have you ever heard this word tides? Or it's the new word for you?
Ma'am, new words.
Okay, new word for you. But you may have visited sea or ocean, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so whenever you have visited sea and ocean, you may have seen that water level rises and falls down. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Water. Okay, so this water, whenever water level rises and falls in the water body, just like sea and ocean, this thing is known as tide. This thing is known as tide. Are you getting understood, beta? The rises
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
fall, the rises and the falls of the water level in the water bodies, such as ocean and seas, is called what? Is called a tide. Now, why such kind of things take place? Let me tell you. You know very well that our Earth spins, correct? It just moves. It just
Yes,
rotates
ma'am. It
around the sun.
rotates.
Yes. So, and at the same time, you know very well that our Earth has a gravitational force, a gravitational power also. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, see, as the Earth spins, the water on its surface, okay, what happens that on its surface it just pull towards it because of the gravity. The water level which is present on the earth pull that water level towards us. Okay, and at the same time we know that moon is the very nearest neighbor of the earth. So moon also exerts, means moon also forces, moon also do the same gravitational force to the water, so the water level rises in the seas and ocean. But at the same time sun also pull it towards itself. So both are doing this thing. So that is the reason those water level rises and falls down. Are you getting understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
how the moon exerts, moons create the gravitational force. The same thing happens in the case of the sun also. Sun also tries to do the same thing on the water bodies, but the thing is that it's very far from our Earth. Okay, the distance is very far, so its effect is not that much like the moon. Moon's effects is more in comparison to the sun. But those different entities which are present there, because of their they tries to make a little bit force, some gravitational force, so that water level rises. But our earth gravitational power force is a lot, so it take back towards itself. Are you getting understood, beta? So the water level rises and water level falls, water level rises and it just falls down. So gravitational force exerts by the moon and the sun and the earth's rotation. Okay, it causes the water level in the ocean and seas so that it rise and falls. And this rise and falls of the water level in water bodies are known as what? Are known as tides. Understand, beta? Are you getting understood, boys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Now what whenever this water level rises, see here it is written high tide and low tide. Whenever this way water level rises, it is known as high tide. It is known as high tide. Okay, and whenever the water level falls, it is known as low tide. It is known as low tide.
Low
Got
tide.
it? Yes. Now comes the very interesting thing, landing on the moon. Okay. Now, yes, can you read it for us, beta?
Yes, ma'am. Landing on the moon. On July 20, 1969, American astronaut Neil
Neil
Armstrong
Armstrong. Okay.
became the first human being to set foot on the moon. He was a part of the Apollo 11 space mission and was
Accompanied
accom-
by,
accompanied by astronauts Edwin Aldrin and Michael Collins.
okay, the
The
astronauts were,
the astronauts wore special suits called spacesuits in order to survive the cold, lack of air, and harmful rays in the space. They collect rock samples from the moon and returned to the earth safely.
Okay, very good. Now see, these are the very interesting facts. Here are the name of the persons, peoples are given who were the first people who reach on the moon. Okay, on the month July 20, date is 20, month is July, and the year is 1969. Okay, American astronaut Neil Armstrong was the very first person who put his leg on the moon. Now, not only he reached over there, but two of the other people also accompanied him. The name are Edwin Aldrin and Michael Collins. Now, the name of the mission is Apollo 11 mission. What is the name of the mission? Apollo 11 mission.
Apollo
Apollo
11.
11.
Yes, and they cannot reach there, or anybody who has to visit the moon, they cannot enter in the surface of the moon without wearing this kind of spacesuit, because in the beginning of the chapter I have told you that there is no air and no such protective layer is present
Yes,
uh,
ma'am. And
on
there
the
are
moon.
so many radiation is there.
Yes, and lots of the atmosphere is lots of there is lots of cold is there, and air is not present there. So how one person can survive over there? Harmful rays are also there in the space. So to protect themselves, they should have to wear such kind of special suits. So not only they reach there, but they took some of the samples of the rocks also. They bring it back so that they can do the research. Okay, so this is the fact about the moon, that who were the people who land very first time on the moon. Now, do you know anything about the eclipse? Have you ever heard this word eclipse?
Yes, ma'am. I have heard this word, but I don't know the meaning of that.
Okay, now let me tell you one thing. But if you people enters inside a dark room, okay, and if a torch is present in your hand, with help of the torch, you can see things which you want to see, beta, through the light of
Yes,
the
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
through the light
Yes,
of
ma'am.
okay, through the light of the torch, you can see the things in the dark room, correct? But whenever you are looking around you with help of the torch, and if you put your complete hand on the light of the torch, you do not allow the light to falls upon any object. Okay, you put your hand, you put your palm upon that light. Can light stop falling on the object?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so now you are not
Yes.
now you are not able to see the object, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now can I say that you have blocked the light of the torch falling on the different objects? Can I say that? It's yes.
What, ma'am?
It's yes. You block the view of the object which you want to see, because you put your palm on the light of the torch. Yes, beta.
Mm.
Yes. So,
Yes, ma'am.
but if you move if you move your hand from there, then once again you can see the objects, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so now the same thing happens in the case of eclipse. See, there are so many things present in the space. When one object present in the space block the view of the other object, so that we are not able to see that particular object, and that situation is known as eclipse. That thing is known as eclipse. Especially we can see from the earth, sun and the moon, correct? And when we are not able to see them completely or partially, then this kind of eclipse can be occurs or happens. There are two types of eclipse: solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Okay, and let's learn the detail. You know very well that this moon and earth are always moving, they are changing their positions. Yes, beta, please give answer. Yes, they are moving from their place, they are
Yes.
changing. Okay, so when moon is moving around the earth, and when it comes in between sun and the earth, when moon comes in between sun and the earth, and from the earth we are not able to see the sun, this situation is known as solar eclipse. This situation is known as solar eclipse. Just now,
Solar
And ma'am,
yes,
and ma'am,
now,
I know the lunar eclipse.
okay, yes,
Ma'am, in that In between sun and moon, Earth is came.
Very
Uh,
nice. Very good. Yes. Okay. So
so
whenever moon,
we see the moon.
yes. So whenever this moon comes in between the sun and the earth, okay, we are not able to see the sun, and this situation is known as solar eclipse. But if the position of the moon changes little bit, okay, then we can see sometimes some of the part of the sun. See in this way. Can you see different pictures of the sun? It looks like that different phases of the moon. Here also that way sun looks differently, half and partial. And can you
Yes,
see this?
ma'am.
Okay, so when
Yes.
if a moon moves a little bit, then some of the part of the sun is visible. So that kind of thing is known as partial solar eclipse. That thing is known as what, beta? That is known as partial solar eclipse.
Partial
What?
solar eclipse.
Yes, partial solar eclipse. That in partial solar eclipse, we can see some of the part of the sun, and in the total solar eclipse, we are not at all able to see the sun. Got it, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in this picture, you can see that this boy has wear special glass spectacles. Yes. So, if we want to see this kind of eclipse, we always have to wear this kind of protective special glasses, and then only we have to see the eclipse. Otherwise, the rays during those eclipse may harm our eyes. Okay. And if we do not have that kind of glasses, then pinhole projector named instrument is there. With help of that, we can see it. But with bare eyes, means without wearing such kind of glasses or without this kind of instrument, we should have to never watch, never see eclipse, because during those eclipse those rays may damage our eyes. Got it, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
now,
ma'am.
okay, now the same way, just like the solar eclipse, can you see here lunar eclipse? Now here
Yes, ma'am.
now here again the position of these three getting changed. Now which thing comes in between the sun and the moon? Earth. And
Earth.
Earth.
because
Earth.
earth comes between the sun and the moon, now sun's rays will not reach to the moon. And because of that, we are not able to see the moon, because we know that moon does not have its own light. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
but sun's light comes and falls upon it, and so that we can see that. But right now, exit in between both of them, earth comes, so sun's light will not reach on the moon. And do you know the another thing? This lunar eclipse always take place in the full moon. This lunar eclipse always take place in the full moon. What is means by full moon? When moon appears complete. See, here we had learned a bit different phases of the moon. Here we had learned different phases of the moon. That moon appears every day different. When we can see the complete moon, it is known as full moon. Correct? When full, all the size full, one side of the moon is totally visible, is known as what, beta? It is known as full moon. Then just after the full moon, it decreases its size, and after few days, it will be not. We are not able to see it. That situation is known as new moon. That situation is known as new moon. Can you see this here, beta?
Ma'am, this process is done every 29 days.
Okay, and now once again, no, in 15, this take place in every 15 days. See, if today is the full moon, then it will decreases its size, and after 15 days, new moon is there. Now, after new moon, it, array, I'm sorry.
No, ma'am, I am saying about the full process.
Full process takes, yes, you are correct. For full process, you are correct. Okay, but after the new moon, once again, it increases its size. Okay, and it takes 15 days, and once again, it is full moon. Got it, beta? Understand? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
but if we talk about, just a minute. But if we talk about lunar eclipse, it always takes place in the full moon. Okay, whenever full moon is there, lunar eclipse always takes place on that day. See, if it takes place on the new moon day, we are not able to see. Anyways, we are not able to see the moon. But it always takes place in the full moon. So we are not able to see the moon. So when moon is completely hid by the earth, it is known as total lunar eclipse. And when partial part of the moon can be seen. See here, it is shown that if some part of the moon is visible, then it is known as partial lunar eclipse. Then it is known as partial lunar eclipse. Got it, beta? Are you getting understood, boys?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's all about our chapter number. I've told you now that
Ma'am,
it's very,
chapter number 9 over.
yes, beta, that's why I've told you that it's very interesting and it's very small. Let me show you then also once again in the
Oh,
PDF form. Is it interesting or not? It's small and interesting, correct?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It was very much interesting.
Yes, see the name of
Small
the chapter.
also.
Yes, so let's see textbook also, and at the same time let's revise also. What's the name of the chapter, beta?
The
Chapter number
earth and
9,
the moon.
the earth and the moon. So now see here, picture of the earth, picture of the sun, and picture of the moon is given because the chapter is all about them. Correct, beta? And then here are the true or false. This true or false we know very well that earth revolves around the sun and the moon revolves around the earth. These are the true sentences, other true sentences are wrong. Sun revolves around the earth and sun revolves around the moon. It's completely wrong because we know that sun is not at all moving from its place. Correct, beta? Now comes the structure of the earth. This we have learned. I have told you the details and the facts about the crust, mantle, and core. You know, na beta? Do you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. How many layers are there in the structure of earth?
Four. Four layers.
Two.
Two. Crust, mantle, and core. Correct. Then we had learned
Yes.
about the facts about the moon. That moon is the nearer neighbor of the earth. Then it revolves around the earth. It does not have its own light. But why do it shines? Because sun's light reflects
Reflect
on the
of the sun.
of the yes. And through the picture we had learned how it appears. How moon appears from the earth, how earth appears from the moon. Okay, that we had learned. Then we had learned about the surface of the moon. Correct? That there is no air and atmosphere is present there. Okay, the surrounding is very cold. There is lots of dust present there. Okay, and on the mountains, those deep hole can be found on the moon's surface. They are known as what? They are known as craters. And why such
Ma'am,
craters? Yes, beta.
in moon there are mountains and deep holes. Means
Yes. See, land area is present on that place also. That is the reason we can land over there. Understand, beta? So how do we have land area also? We have mountain area also. So at that place also such kind of thing can be found. Got it?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So those land area, those mountain area on them, this kind of deep holes can be found, and they are known as craters. Correct, beta? Just after this fact, which thing we had learned? We had learned about the
Face
phases of
of
the
the
moon.
moon.
Yes, that moon appears every day different. It looks different every day, and this appears to change because it revolves around the earth. This changing shape of the moon is known what is known as phases of the moon.
Faces of
Yes,
the
ma'am.
earth.
Okay, and
Moon.
why
Sorry.
and why do these things take place and happens? Because they change their position. Yes, that's why. Then we had learned about the moon and the tide. That why tides happens or take place. Okay, because of the gravitational force exerted by the moon, by the sun, because of the Earth's rotation causes, so that water level in the seas and ocean, okay, it rise and it falls, and this rise and falls in the water bodies is known as what is known as tide. If the water level rises, then it is known as high tide, and if the water level falls, then it is known as low tide. Then this factor, you remember now we had learned that on the July 20, 1969, American astronaut Neil Armstrong, that Edwin Aldrin and Michael Collins, okay, they reach on the moon with a particular mission. Name of the mission is Apollo 11. And Neil Armstrong was the first person who put his foot on the moon. And astronauts have to they wore the special suit so that they can survive there in that cold temperature, the place where no air is there, harmful rays are also there, and they bring back with them some samples of the rocks also from the moon. Yes. Okay. Now On which layer of the earth are we living? We live on the crust, and crust is the outermost layer of the
Yes,
earth.
ma'am. Crust.
Yes, and crust is the outermost layer of the earth. Correct. So our both the FDs are that. The crust is the outermost layer of the earth, and we live on the crust. Now, as we have learned that mantle is divided into two parts. So outer mantle is made up of solid rock. Yes or no? And inner part is made up of molten rock. So here is the question. The outer dash is made up of solid rock. So what is the correct answer?
Mental.
Yes, very nice.
Men-
Yes, the inner part of the mantle. Now it's easy for you to give answer. Inner part of the mantle. Very good.
Molten rock.
It's made up of molten rock. Now is the most easy. The inner core of the earth is made up of solid ball. Made up of
Iron.
very good. It is made up of iron.
Iron.
Okay. Now in true or false, first sentence is that mantle contains everything that is essential for life. Is it like that? No, it is crust.
No,
Which,
false.
yes, it is false because it is crust which contains everything that is essential for life. Now, is sun is the nearest neighbor of the earth?
No, ma'am. False. The moon
Yes,
is
it
the
is.
nearest neighbor of the earth.
Very good. Okay,
Yes.
second sentence is also false. Now, the third one is that moon gives out light of its own. Is it true?
False, ma'am.
Yes.
That moon
Ve-
reflects the sunlight.
Reflection of the sun.
Very nice.
Reflection
Okay,
of the sun.
so our third sentence is also false.
False.
Now, fourth one is that when the water level falls in the ocean and seas, it is called low tide.
Ma'am, true. True, ma'am.
Yes, very good. It is true because when it is rises, it is high tide. When it falls, it is low tide. So it is true. Now, fifth one is that
True, ma'am. True.
there is no
False.
air on the moon.
True.
Yes, this is
True.
also true.
True.
Yes, this
True.
one is also true. Then there is the topic which we had learned, eclipse. I have told you. Then in the space, uh, in what happens, the object in the space blocks the view of the another object. For example, one of the planet blocks the view of the another object. Okay, and so that we cannot see the another object completely or partially. This situation is known as eclipse. And we have learned that there are two eclipses, solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Correct? When the moon comes in between the sun and the earth and block the view of the sun. Which eclipse is that?
Solar eclipse.
Okay, and if some of the part of the sun is visible, then it is known as
Lunar eclipse.
Particle solar eclipse. Particle.
partial.
Partial.
Partial solar eclipse. Yes. And we have to see this kind of eclipse with the bare eyes, or we should have to wear such kind of protective glasses.
Ma'am, we should wear that glasses.
Okay. Now the same way, if Earth comes between the moon and the sun and blocks the sun rays to falls upon the moon, then which eclipse is this?
Lunar.
Yes,
Lunar
lunar eclipse. And if we cannot see the complete moon, then it is complete lunar eclipse. But if we see some of the part of the moon, then
Partial lunar eclipse.
Partial lunar eclipse.
beta pronunciation is partial. Okay, partial lunar eclipse. Okay. Now, true or false are there? The eclipse occurs when an object in space blocks the view of another object. Is it true?
Ma'am, true.
Yes, very nice. It is true. Now, if the sun is completely hidden by the moon, it is called the total lunar eclipse.
False.
Yes,
False.
It is
False.
solar eclipse.
yes, because if moon comes in between the sun and the sun and the earth, then it is solar eclipse. It is not lunar eclipse.
Yes, ma'am. Solar eclipse. It is called.
Yes. The third one is if the moon cannot be seen completely, it is called a total lunar eclipse.
False.
Yes, ma'am. True.
It is true, beta. It is not false. It is true. If we cannot see the complete moon, it is called total lunar eclipse. It is correct. It is true.
Yes.
Now the shape of the earth is
Spherical.
very good. Very good. We live on the
Cross.
Earth.
B.
Earth.
Cross.
Very nice. We live on the cross. Then which layer contains magnesium and iron? Mantle.
Mantle.
Yes,
Mental.
very good.
Mental.
Mantle. During high tide, what happens to the water level?
Water rises.
Rises.
Very good. It rises. You people become very intelligent, huh, beta? When the earth comes between the sun and the moon, which kind of eclipse is there? When earth comes
Lunar
between
eclipse.
sun,
Lunar
very,
eclipse.
very good. It is lunar eclipse. Now
Lunar
the
eclipse.
true or false are there. Moon is the earth's nearest neighbor. Yes?
True. True.
Yes.
Yes, it's true.
True.
Then there was an American astronaut, Neil Armstrong was an astronaut. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
True.
So it's also
True.
true. Now see what is written here. The surface of the moon is smooth and even. Is it yes or no?
Ma'am, no, ma'am. False it is.
It is false because there are lots of holes can be found there. Correct. So the third
Yes,
sentence is
Yes.
false. False.
Yes, ma'am.
In a lunar eclipse, the Earth comes between the moon and the sun.
True, ma'am. True. True.
Yes, it's true. Very good. In a solar eclipse, the moon hides the sun.
True, ma'am. True.
Very good. It's
True.
also true because of the moon we cannot see the sun. It's also true. Now name the following means you have to give answer in one word. Its first sentence is very easy. See, deep holes on the
Crater.
surface of the.
Crater. Crater.
You seriously, you people are before I read the question, you are giving answer, so you know all the facts very nicely. The deep holes on the surface of the moon is known as craters. Now, the phase of the moon when one of its side is fully visible means we can see the complete moon. What
Full
is this
moon.
thing? Very good.
Full
It is
moon.
known as very good. It is known as full moon. The
Full moon.
type of the tide in which water level rises.
High tide. High tide.
High
Very good.
tide. High tide.
High tide. A phenomenon that occurs when an object in the space blocks the view of another
Eclipse.
object.
Eclipse.
Very
Eclipse.
nice. Very nice. It
Eclipse.
is eclipse. The eclipse in which a part of the sun is visible. Some of
Partial
the part.
eclipse. Partial
Very
eclipse.
nice. Excellent, boys. Excellent. It is known as partial solar
Partial
eclipse.
solar eclipse.
Okay, so here we had completed all the objectives also. See the short question answers. Name of the three layers we know very well. Crust, mantle and core. Correct?
Yes.
What is means by the phases of the moon? When moon appears, okay, different every day. The changing shapes of the moon is known what? Is known as phases of the moon. Then what do we understand about the tides? When in
Ma'am,
the water, the rise and the fall in the water bodies is known as what?
Water.
Is known as tides. And the name of the person we also know very well. What's the name of the person who put first step on the moon?
Neil
American.
Armstrong.
Yes,
Neil Armstrong. Neil
Neil
Armstrong.
Armstrong. And the last one is what is an eclipse? So we know that in the space, the one object blocks the view of the other object, so that we cannot see the object completely or sometimes partially. That situation is known as eclipse. Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
Today we have completed full chapters also, all its objectives also, and it's very interesting and easy chapter. Yes, beta.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes,
there
ma'am.
is no long question
Too
answer.
much easy.
Long question answers are also there, beta. I will send it in the PDF. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So now you know very well. You may have read the messages in the group, correct, beta? That now today is the last day of the study. Now we'll meet after the vacation. Got it, beta?
Ma'am, when will the vacation get over?